So you want to cook Asian food? Well, since I'm clearly an expert, I'll be showing you everything you need to keep in your kitchen to cook Asian-ish. Now I know Asia is a huge continent, and I'm definitely not knowledgeable enough to cover every culture. But after this video, you should be well equipped to cook basic Chinese, Japanese, Thai, Vietnamese, Korean, Filipino, Malaysian, even Indonesian dishes. Before we get into Asian pantry essentials, let's hear from our sponsor, which is me. I recently released my first digital cookbook, Flavor Boosters, which contains 13 flavor boosters that you can keep in your kitchen to level up your cooking, and 2 recipes on how to use each of them, for a grand total of 39 recipes. If you want to check it out, the link is in the description. But even if you don't buy it, I appreciate you watching and supporting my content. As for the Asian pantry essentials, there will be a full downloadable PDF in the description, free of charge. First, let's talk about sauces. Soy sauce. Definitely the most well-known Asian sauce. There are tons of varieties and brands out there, but these will keep most of your bases covered. Regular soy sauce. This is going to be your go-to whenever a recipe asks for soy sauce. It's going to add a punch of umami to whatever you want. My personal favorite is Kikkoman. It tastes amazing, it's inexpensive, and it's the standard in the food industry for a reason. Dark soy sauce. It's less salty, with a richer taste and deep amber color. It's mainly used to add color to dishes like red braised pork belly and Taiwanese beef noodle soup. Filipino soy sauce. It's used for, you guessed it, Filipino dishes. It's thinner and saltier than regular soy sauce, which makes it great for pairing with other strong flavors, like vinegar in cooking methods like adobo. Sweet soy sauce, or kecap manis. It's thicker and heavier due to the addition of palm sugar. It's a fundamental sauce of Indonesian cuisine and can be used in stir fries, marinades, or just as a condiment. Fish sauce. Smells like death, but tastes amazing. This funky sauce is a fundamental part of Vietnamese cuisine, but it's used in many other Asian cultures too. It's extremely versatile and can be used in every step of cooking. Now when it comes to fish sauce, everybody has their favorite brand. My personal favorite is Red Boat, but it comes with a premium price tag. So I typically go with something like Flying Lion, which is cheaper and still great for the price. Now I know a lot of you out there use 3 Crabs, but I think it's pretty average. And don't even get me started on that squid brand. It f***ing sucks. Oyster sauce, or concentrated oyster essence. Kind of. It's a thick sauce with a rich, sweet, caramelized flavor that's commonly used in Chinese cuisine to amp up the flavor of vegetables and marinate meats. Hoisin sauce. As you can see, I really like this one. This might be the most well-known sauce in Cantonese cuisine. Now, hoisin literally translates to seafood, but this sauce is typically used as a glaze for meats or as a condiment for meat dishes. The flavor is deeply savory and complex due to the numerous spices and fermented ingredients in it. Ketchup. I know. How is Heinz needed for Asian cooking? But this sweet and sour savory sauce is actually a key ingredient in a lot of Chinese stir fries and some Japanese sauces like okonomi sauce and yakisoba sauce. And if you want to make sweet and sour pork, trust me, ketchup's a secret weapon. Hot sauce. I'm still hanging on to my last bit of OG sriracha. I mean, these don't really need explaining, just an amazing condiment for all types of dishes. Chili oil. This sauce has taken over food social media the past few years, and there's a ridiculous variety to choose from. But no matter what brand you go for, it is an amazing condiment in literally every aspect of cooking, not just Asian cooking. Wow. Kewpie mayo. It's like if Hellman started juicing with MSG. It's eggier and more savory than regular mayo, which makes it perfect to accompany dishes like okonomiyaki and takoyaki. Worcestershire. Believe it or not, it's actually used in a lot of Cantonese dishes. The savoriness from the anchovies and the acidity from the vinegars make it a great accompaniment for a lot of dim sum dishes. Miso, one of the most important ferments in Japanese cuisine. There are 2 main types of miso, red and white. Red miso has a darker color and a richer, bolder flavor due to the higher proportion of soybeans used in fermentation. Now I love using miso in all my cooking, not just Asian food. I love adding it to sauces, purees, and even pastries for an extra umami boost. It's such a versatile and balanced ingredient. Doenjang. It's typically saltier, funkier, and grainier than Japanese miso. It's a fundamental part of many Korean soups and stews and can be mixed with other ingredients for some crazy good condiments. Gochujang. Doenjang's spicier sibling and probably the most popular Korean paste. Its signature red color is due to the addition of Korean chilies during fermentation, which also give it a sweet, spicy, and savory flavor profile. It's a fundamental part of Korean cuisine and can be used in soups, sauces, and marinades. Tobanjang. It's a fermented chili bean paste that's essentially the Chinese version of gochujang. It's saltier, funkier, and more savory than gochujang, which makes it a great addition to stir fries. You can still use this as a condiment, but it's quite strong, so I would dilute it with other ingredients. Sesame paste, made from raw hulled sesame seed. It adds a nutty punch to anything it's in, typically used in salad dressings, hot pot dipping sauces, and pastries. Curry paste. Now if you're Thai and watching this, you might be cursing me for having store-bought curry paste, but it's a super versatile, convenient ingredient when you don't have time or access to get fresh aromatics. I love adding this to various marinades or sauces to get that aromatic kick. Sambal, spicy chili paste. This stuff is hot. It's a fundamental ingredient in Malaysian, Vietnamese, and Indonesian cuisine that's used to add a spicy kick to anything you want. I love adding this to tomato-based sauces because that bold spiciness pairs really well with it. Shrimp paste, another funky ingredient that smells like death but tastes amazing. This might be the most flavorful ingredient in this entire video. It has an intensely shrimpy, funky aroma that just massively boosts the umami of whatever it's in. It's a key ingredient in many Southeast Asian dishes like bún bò Huế, khao soi, and nasi goreng. Be warned though, it does tend to overpower other ingredients, so use it sparingly. Onto vinegars. We'll start with the most basic of vinegars, pure distilled white vinegar. Not only is it great for cleaning and laundry, but it's useful when you need a clean punch of acidity to your cooking. It's used frequently in Southeast Asian marinades and as an addition to condiments. Rice vinegar. Made from fermented rice alcohols, it's slightly milder and sweeter than white vinegar. This is definitely my most used vinegar. It's the most common vinegar type used in Chinese, Japanese, and Vietnamese cuisine. It's great in every step of cooking, from marinating all the way to final seasoning. Cane vinegar. Made from fermented sugar canes, it's the most common vinegar type in Filipino cuisine. It has a mild acidity with a slight caramel-like sweetness and is amazing in pickles, marinades, and sauces. Black or chincang vinegar. This is my favorite vinegar. Every Chinese household will have a bottle of this. It's full-bodied with a malty, slightly sweet, and complex flavor with a mild acidity. Mix this with some chili oil and you have the perfect dumpling dipping sauce. I also love using this in braises and marinades. I could almost drink this stuff. Sherry vinegar. Now this is something people probably don't think about when it comes to Asian cooking. It's a Spanish vinegar with a rounded, complex acidity that works so well in combination with other Asian vinegars. I mainly use this as putting finishing touches on sauces and braises. It adds a light yet full-bodied acidity to anything it touches. It's probably my most versatile and used vinegar after rice vinegar. On to wines. Now all these wines here are made from rice. I think you can tell why. We Asians love our rice. Shaoxing wine. Now if you've been watching my cooking content for a while, you've definitely seen this. It's one of the most popular cooking wines used in Chinese cuisine, and for good reason. It adds a signature musty aroma and nutty, savory flavor to whatever it's in. I use this almost every day. I always keep at least 2 or 3 bottles stocked in my kitchen. From deglazing to marinades to sauces to braises, this wine can pretty much do it all. Chinese rice wine or mijiu. It's pretty basic as far as flavor goes. It just adds a clean, mild sweetness to whatever it's put in. It fills in the gaps for those dishes where you don't want the strong flavor of something like Shaoxing wine. Rose wine. This is one of my favorites. It just smells amazing because it's infused with roses. Its uses are more specialized, but it adds a nice, complex floral aroma to whatever it's in, like cured meats and braised dishes like soy sauce chicken. Sake, the quintessential Japanese rice wine. This is my most used cooking wine after Shaoxing wine. It not only adds a mild sweetness to foods, but imparts a slightly fruity, fragrant, and yeasty aroma. Mirin, like sake, but just super sweet. The mirin you find in grocery stores typically has less than 0.5% alcohol, so you can just add it to sauces and marinades without cooking it off. It offers a complex sweetness, and I love using this in place of sugar sometimes. Soju, the alcoholic beverage of choice for Koreans. It's great for cooking, but also to enjoy on its own. It's sweet, smooth, and slightly bitter. Use it to marinate your Korean barbecue meats to get rid of that raw taste, or reduce it down and add it to sauces. It's super versatile, just like mijiu and sake. Onto dry ingredients. Dried kelp, or kombu in Japanese, or dashima in Korean. This ingredient is as fundamental as it gets when it comes to Japanese and Korean cooking. Kombu is highly concentrated in the 3 amino acids that give us umami. I'm simplifying here, but it's glutamate, inosinate, and guanylate. Like pretty much every ingredient in this video, it's extremely versatile. You can use it to make stock, marinate fish and meats, or grind it up into an all-purpose umami seasoning. This little piece of seaweed is not limited to just Asian cooking. It'll enhance anything you want. Dried anchovies. Another ingredient that is fundamental in Korean cuisine. This particular ingredient is not as versatile as the others. It's typically only used to make stock, although other smaller varieties can be fried and eaten as banchans. I still think it's necessary to have if you want to cook anything Korean, since it plays a crucial part in that rounded savoriness most Korean dishes have. Katsuobushi or bonito flakes. The process to make these is insane. Katsuobushi or skipjack tuna is cooked, then smoked, then dried, then smoked again, then dried again, and this happens over various days or even weeks until it becomes as hard as a rock. Those rock-hard blocks of tuna are then shaved to make these beautiful, smoky, and savory flakes. These are a key ingredient in Japanese stocks and can also be used as a delicious topping on top of things like okonomiyaki and takoyaki. Plus, they dance when placed on top of hot food. Dried shiitake mushrooms. These beautiful little things are insanely versatile and an umami secret weapon. They can be rehydrated to make stock or blended to make a concentrated umami seasoning. These are my favorite mushrooms. Rice flours. Chances are if you want to do any noodle or pastry work, you're going to need one of these. Rice noodles, mochi, glutinous rice balls, you're going to need some type of rice flour for those. I also use regular rice flour a ton when I'm deep frying. It gives a wicked crust. Cornstarch. Like rice flour, it's used super often when deep frying. It doesn't darken as fast as regular flour and gives a super light, crispy crust. Many Asian dishes also use a cornstarch slurry as a thickener for soups and sauces. Rice! We can't forget about rice. I always keep these 3 types of rice on hand. Short grain Japanese rice, Thai jasmine rice, and glutinous or sweet rice. I use jasmine rice typically in fried rices and Southeast Asian dishes. Short grain Japanese rice for, of course, Japanese dishes, Korean dishes, and even some Chinese dishes. And every Asian culture pretty much has some version of a sticky rice dish. Now we're on to seasonings and spices. There's a lot here, so we're gonna do a speed run. Palm sugar. Less refined than regular sugar, it adds a complex sweetness to many Southeast Asian dishes. Rock sugar. Again, it's less refined. Adds a mild sweetness and color to many Japanese, Taiwanese, Chinese, and Vietnamese dishes. MSG. It's not bad for you. It'll make your life better. Dashi powder. This stuff is straight up crack. Sprinkle it on some fried shallots and thank me later. Furikake. Sprinkle this over anything and thank me later. 5-spice. The quintessential Chinese spice mix. Cinnamon. Used in pretty much every culture, not just Asian dishes. Star anise. Again, widely used. Adds an earthy licorishness to dishes. Cloves, like star anise, but more intense and stronger. Dried mandarin peel, adds a citrusy aroma to anything it hits. Need it for Chinese cooking. Dried chilies, used in a ton of cultures in chili oils and pastes. Add some heat. Bay leaves, a must for Southeast Asian cooking. Gochugaru, or Korean chili powder, a necessity of Korean cuisine. Don't even think about cooking Korean food if you don't have this. Chinese chili powder, gochugaru's spicier cousin. You need this for Chinese food, especially northern Chinese food. Togarashi shichimi, Japanese 7-spice seasoning, great finishing spice. Peppercorns, black pepper. If you don't have this, why are you even cooking? White peppercorns, like black pepper, but more mild and smells like buds. Ooh. Sichuan peppercorns, red for a stronger peppery flavor, green for more floral and citrusy notes, but it's more numbing. Now on to our last section, and maybe my favorite, tools. Wok, specifically a carbon steel wok. I've been using this guy for almost a decade now. Picked it up at a thrift store for like $3. It gets ripping hot, amazing for stir fries and deep frying, almost indestructible. But nowadays, I actually use this guy more. A flat bottom carbon steel pan, since I mostly cook electric. Honestly, either are great. Anything carbon steel will last a lifetime as long as it's taken care of. And especially if you cook with gas, you can get that wok hay flavor. Chopsticks. I don't know why most of Asia decided to use 2 sticks as your utensil of choice, but hey, I'm not complaining. Now, if you want to impress a really small proportion of the population, get these. These are moribashi, or Japanese plating chopsticks, and they are not easy to use, but they're super fun once you get the hang of them. Steamer. It's great for reheating things, steaming vegetables, lazy, quick cooking dishes. Plus, if you want to make dim sum, you need some sort of steaming setup. Mortar and pestle. A must-have for any Southeast Asian cooking. Whether you're pounding chilies to make a sambal or aromatics to make a curry paste, you need this thing to get the maximum flavor out of your ingredients. Lastly, my favorite category, knives. I find it really funny that for most Asian cuisines, all you need is this big boy right here, a cleaver. It can smash, dice, julienne, brunoise, mince, anything. It can do it all. But when you hop over to the island of Japan, you see that they have a knife for every purpose. Gyuto, or a chef's knife. Santoku, covers pretty much all the same bases as a gyuto, but typically smaller. Bunka, like a santoku, but edgier. Nakiri, vegetable cleaver. Tsujihiki, slicer. Yanagiba, sashimi knife. Deba, fish butchery knife. Honisiki, poultry knife. And there are a ton more that I don't even own. All you need for a home cook is one big boy, and maybe one of these guys. If you want me to go more in depth about knives and knives that I own and recommend, drop a comment and maybe I'll do a video. But for now, I hope this has given you plenty of knowledge of how to cook Asian-ish at home.